You know what? I've promised a demo of vCenter for the last session, but I've been given a presentation that Jaime did with the new features of 5.4 with vCenter and so on. So I thought it's going to be better to give this presentation. Also, the thing is that we already did a live demo this morning, so probably if I do a demo right now, it's going to crash. 2 live demos same day is impossible. Okay, first I'm going to tell you a little bit about how OpenNebula works with vCenter. In the morning we've been doing some, we've been playing with KVM. We've seen how KVM works, how the drivers work, and how you configure that. But with vCenter, things are a little bit different. This is the same image that you've seen in the morning. One of the very different things from, well, KVM and Shen that worked in the old versions and VMware is that the infrastructure management for KVM is done by OpenNebula. OpenNebula does every little bit of thing to make VMs work. But with vCenter, we delegate everything to vCenter. We talk through the API to vCenter and say to vCenter, okay, I want to clone and start this template that you already have in your data store. And vCenter does all the drill. It connects the network, it copies the images, starts the VM, changes some parameters, and so on. That's the thing that OpenNebula does behind the scenes for KVM. So in vCenter, when you have a vCenter, what you do is that you import the resources that you already have in vCenter into OpenNebula. So you import VMs, you import templates, and you import networks. That means that when you want to create a network, you have to go to vCenter, create the network, and then import it in OpenNebula. Why we did it like this? Our first approach when we started creating drivers to manage VMware, they talked directly to ESX. The problem is that people that had VMware before, they wanted to continue using vCenter. They were used to the point-and-click interface to create things, to create networks, to create port groups. They knew about the names. The names in VMware are different from names in OpenNebula. In OpenNebula, we don't have port groups. What's a port group in OpenNebula? Doesn't exist. And they needed to continue to use these kind of things. Also, they were used to create VMware templates. In VMware templates, you have specific options for Oracle. When you want to install an Oracle, you have a text that tells you how to create a template, or you have the template from Oracle, and you cannot replicate that from the OpenNebula site. So for the administrators, it's much easier to create a template in vCenter, import it in OpenNebula, and start working. So that's what we did. The key points of the integration is that we try to make it seamless integration. The users will be able to consume all the resources that the administrators created in vCenter. As vCenter is still there, the administrators can leverage vMotion, HA, DRS, all this stuff. The next thing is that OpenNebula provides the multi-tenant layer on top of vCenter. You can do that with vCenter. You can create users, resource pools and all stuff, and give permissions to users. But most of the users will see the interface cumbersome, and for the most part, they won't be able to do some things that maybe are easier, but with that interface, they're going to be much more difficult. Also, managing all these users, having a multi-tenant thing is going to be harder. They can also maintain VMware management tools and procedures and workflows. For example, we have some users that wanted to use customizations. Customizations is like the contextualization from VMware. It's a way of setting some sysprep, XML configuration and things like that. So when a machine starts, it's configured in that way, So they already know how to do that. Why we're going to take out these features from them? So that's also one of the parts that we wanted to do it like this. They already have templates, so they don't have to create new things. They can just put this on top, import the templates, and continue. And the vCenter manages a number of clusters. So with one import command, we can get all the clusters from all the ESX machines that we have. How do we see these resources in OpenNebula? They are seen the same as Amazon EC2 or Microsoft Azure. In reality, for 5.2, that the current version, virtual vCenter drivers are in a special kind of drivers called public drivers. That mean that they work like if they were a public cloud. So what we are doing with vCenter, we are treating that like a public cloud, and we see a host that has a lot of memory and a lot of CPU, and where we can send the VMs. We send the VMs to this vCenter, and then vCenter chooses an ESX to run the VM, etc. That's not something that we have a capability to work on. So that's the idea. We have OpenNebula. That's the API. That's where you connect to it through Sandstone, through the API. Then we have OpenNebula. Until here is more or less the same. But below that, we have several vCenters that can have several clusters with the ESX inside. And from OpenNebula point of view, what we see is only the clusters as a host. What you need to run this integration, you need vCenter 5.5. Current version is works with 5.5.6.0. 6.5 works in the development version. That's going to be released hopefully in a month or so. You need to have the ESX machines inside a cluster. There are people that have the ESX directly inside a data center without a cluster, but OpenNebula requires to have a cluster on top of that. We need VMware tools in the guest operating system, but I suppose that probably everyone has VMware tools installed in the machines in VMware. We need those because these are used by the contextualization packages. They use the VMware tools to communicate. You need a user in vCenter for OpenNebula to connect, administrator user. They should share a data store because the DRS needs that to start VMs in all the hosts. You should have DRS enabled. If you don't do that, then all machines, all clones of a template will go to the same ESX host, so it's better that you have that enabled. And we support VNC to connect to the screen. We try to use the same technologies for all the hypervisors, so we can use the same Sandstone interface and things like that in all of them. So to recap, what we do is we import a vCenter cluster and creates a host. We have a special command, and also in the web interface there's a special import host. You put the credentials and you're asked which clusters to get. You do the same with networks. You import the port group, and then you can assign IP ranges and VLANs if you want. Then you import a vCenter template that creates networks, images, and data stores. And you You can change the template if you need. What we have in OpenNebula is we have OpenNebula template with the name, some capacity, memory, CPU, and so on. And then we have the UID of the template of vCenter that we are related to. So we can change things here, but the important part is that we have a UUID that relates there. So when we clone the template that has the UUID that we are relating here. You don't have to type the UUID. This is part of the import tool. It gets the templates and the UUIDs and all this stuff. And then you can instantiate a VM and so on. So what have been working in for OpenNebula 5.2, 5.4? We try to make VMware be at the same level as KVM. The thing is that until now, KVM was the hypervisor that could do everything. If you see what's in the Sandstone web interface, you can do everything that's in Sandstone web interface with KVM. But if you use VMware, there are things that you cannot do. We didn't have implemented, or the way that we have implemented was not the best one. So for this release, we want to have all the actions that you can do to KVM at the same level as VMware. So the parts that we've been working on is storage, networking, and speed. For storage, the main change is that now we have, I told you before that VMware drivers were the same as Amazon and Microsoft Azure. That means that they are a public cloud drivers. Let's say it's like a special type inside OpenNebula. What it means is that VMs, the life cycle of VMs, are stripped out of some parts. It's mainly pre and post parts of life cycle. The pre part of the life cycle of a VM means that is the part where where OpenNebula is cloning images, where it's preparing the network, and so on. As we are talking to vCenter, and we're telling vCenter, okay, clone this template and make it run. It was vCenter who was copying the images, preparing the network, and so on. So the thing is that we didn't have that much. We could not do that much to these steps because it was all vCenter code that was doing that. We've changed that, and now the drivers are no longer a public cloud driver, and they are like a KVM driver. They have a pre, and using the API, we do all this stuff. Cloning images, preparing the network, and so on. So now we have system data stores. That was something that we didn't have. And that lets us do a lot of things that we were not able to do. One of the things is that you can let OpenNebula choose the target data store, choose the system data store. So if you don't want to use storage DRS, that I think it's a license that you have to pay, you can let OpenNebula do that for you. The other thing is that now you can have persistent and non-persistent images. In the current version, you can only have persistent images for vCenter. Now you can have non-persistent images. It's much better. You can have volatile disks. You can do disk resize upon instantiation. That was not something that you could do with vCenter. You cannot move the slider to make the disk bigger when the machine starts. Now this resize is done through the API and in the pre part of the life cycle. Now you can also use linked clones. That is something similar to that to QCOW2 drivers that are available for KVM. The idea is that when you clone an image, you're not copying the full disk to a new one. You're creating like a pointer. My father is this one. If I'm doing a copy and write thing, so if I clone, the cloning is going to be much faster, and it's not going to occupy all the space. The other thing is that when you have templates that you imported from vCenter, this template can have several images inside, and OpenNebula didn't knew anything about that. That made a little problem. The quotas didn't took into account the images that were already in the template in vCenter. So now we know about those disks, and the quotas are applied to the user correctly. The storage DRS, and lots of operations that could not be done without system data store. So you've seen that it's night and day. Now we have a proper storage implementation for vCenter. This is some actions that we didn't have before. Before we could not have non-persistent disks. So we have some persistent disk here. And some other things that you can do now is save the image to another, save the disk to another image. So that's something that in KVM was working for years. Now we have those in vCenter. And the other thing is what I was telling you about. You can resize the disk on VM instantiation. You can also install, attach new disk. But if you see here, the disk is volatile. You can attach new volatile disk for scratch space, swap, etc. Oh, and the other thing that I haven't shown you is that you can choose if the disk provision is going to be thin or thick, etc. Networking. In the current version, as I told you, you create the networks, configure the networks in vCenter, and then you import them. But now we can manage those networks. The thing is that we can even create new networks. We create new port groups in OpenNebula that will be created in vCenter when the machines are instantiated. It works for standard and distributed switches. You can specify the FIDF like in KVM, so you can say which is going to be the physical port where the switches are going to be connected. You can change the VLAN IDs and provide isolation. So when you create a virtual network, this is a specific view. We have a specific views for vCenter with different things that in KVM are not the same. So for example, you can choose the port group that you want, or physical device, and so on. And then one of the other things is speed. I don't know if you played a bit with vCenter API, but it's slow. It's very, very slow, and it's very verbose. So when you ask something about VM, you can be getting, megabytes of data about this VM, because you have to do a lot of queries. You have to get the query of the root of the VM, and then you have some links about the configuration, and then if you want to read the configuration, you have to do another call to get all the data from the configuration and so on. So it's very, 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 very slow. So we've written all the monitorization code to try to overcome this problem. So we have we cache some of this data. We try to retrieve only the information needed for monitoring, and so the thing is that it's much faster. So it's like 2 orders of magnitude faster. We have some installation that will need these changes very soon. So some of the problems that we are fixing with this change to the new version, you could not do attach and detach in power off state. That seems silly, but as we were using public kind of drivers, we didn't have this pre and post thing that I've told you. So we were not able to do this attach and detach to the machines. We can also choose the folder of where the new VMs are going to be created. If you're familiar with vCenter, you can create folders and VMs inside those folders. So now we can tell OpenNebula to create the VMs inside those folders. You can also regenerate the context in case you change some configuration in OpenNebula side. It will be pushed into the vCenter VM. We had some troubles with spaces in the names of the VMs that we are overcoming. So you see that we have a lot of things changing. The other nice thing is that now OpenNebula reconfigures the machines that are imported into OpenNebula. That doesn't seem that much, but we had some troubles with that, and users have had some troubles with that. And that's basically the what we've been working on vCenter. Do you use vCenter? Because okay, two. Because usually when I want somewhere to talk about vCenter, everyone is using vCenter. It's like, okay, do you have some questions?
What is the main usage of OpenNebula in front of vCenter? Is it because you have this kind of cloud feeling, plus you can use other environments like Amazon or whatever?
We have those two use cases. Well, the question was why OpenNebula in front of vCenter? What's the that's a good thing about that. So we have two main use cases. One is giving a cloud layer on top of vCenter. The thing is that vCenter interface is nice for administrators, but it's not that nice for users. Probably users are going to enter in a jungle that they don't know how to do anything. The other is the other one that you told. We have some users that want to move from vCenter to KVM. But the thing is that they don't want the users to change anything. So if they put OpenNebula on top, they can continue using vCenter, start adding some KVM machines, moving templates. The administrator can move templates from vCenter to KVM, and the users will just start this machine again and again. There was a day that this machine, instead of running on vCenter, is running on KVM, but they don't care.
For the second use case, are you looking to do any tools to help migration to the other tools?
The thing is that there are things that can be automated, but at the end of the day, some of the applications need to have some help from some hands.
It's very similar to like a thing called virtual migration. So it's you have things from a different platform, their drivers and other things that need to be changed.
And in the end, I think the biggest problem is Windows, because changing a Linux machine to run in VMware to run in KVM, you can automate that. It's not that much. There are like 5 things that you have to change. That's it. Windows machines are not the same. The Windows machines are like the very. If they've been running in SCSI, changing the disks to IDE or to another SCSI controller, it runs crazy. It's like there's something wrong here. I'm not going to run because something. There is a tool that is built, I think I told you, built V2V, that kind of installs virtual drivers, do some magic in the registry, I don't know what, but I want to know. And I've managed to make Windows machines run in KVM without doing anything. But there were some Windows machines, probably another version with another software won't run. Probably if you change the disk of SQL Server, maybe the SQL Server is going to say, hey, there's something wrong here. This is not the disk I had before, or something like that. So there are things that can be automated, and usually what we do is that we create like a step-by-step list of things that you have to do to have most of things working. but I don't know of any way of automating the full thing. I think it's work for another project, for another 10 people working on that.
Probably a separate project. And one more. So if you have a VMware and KVM environment, what can you share between the two? For example, can you have a VLAN that goes to some VMs which are KVM virtual machines and to other VMs which are VMware virtual machines? Like one networking on top of one virtual network.
Yeah, the question is that what can we share between machines in both KVM and VMware? You mentioned the network. Network, you can do that. The thing is that you will have to have two networks with the same VLAN, one for vCenter and another one for KVM. Is the thing that you have to have it duplicated. Probably you have to have a different pool of IPs on both. Then I don't think you can have that much because images are another thing. They are in a different data store. They are in different, probably they're different data store. They have a different format. The thing is that when we refer in KVM to an image, we're saying maybe the path of the image, but I believe that well, you're also saying the path in VMware, but you're saying data store something, image something, etc. That probably is not compatible with what we have. We haven't been thinking about merging those two because we don't think we're going to have that many usage. I know of one project that's trying to do one kind of that thing, but I will wait until it's out and running. It's not from us. So thank you. I think we finished the talks, but I will be around. So if you have any question outside of, don't know, just ask.
Talk a bit about what's coming, like the roadmap, the most important things coming also.
Let me check from the top of my mind. One of the things is resizing on while the machine is running. We didn't have that. Now we, yeah, this resize. What else? The thing is that lately I have not been working that much on code, so I can probably have. Yeah, sure. The thing is that I don't. Oh, there's a big thing that we are working on. There is the HA. We support HA using clustering software. That is Peacemaker, CoroSync, this stuff. Now we are putting HA inside the OpenNebula core. So OpenNebula core is able to communicate with other OpenNebula daemons that are always running. And they can decide who's the master and things like that. The thing is that these Peacemaker and CoroSync increase the difficulty of installations by many zeros, and we are changing that. What else? Oh, I don't know how to filter this to new feature. Oh, new features. Feature. Well, we have a generic way of adding configuration to the network. Before that, we have some specific things like changing the MTU of the new bridge that you're going to create and so on. But now you can specify things like enabling the spanning tree protocol, or changing the port that VXLAN is using to connect to somewhere. So you don't have to change. In this version, if you want to do something fancy, you have to go into the drivers and change them a bit and so on. So we're trying to make everything more configurable, so you don't have to mess into that. It's not that it's hard to do it, but the thing is that if you upgrade to a new version, you're going to lose the changes. That's the main concern. Well, there are lots of things, but they are not really big, as you can see. Some of the things that are going to go there are still not closed. The thing is that one of the things that we try to do to close an issue is that the documentation is also there. So some of the features, the code is there, but the documentation is not, so it's not done. Well, we try to do that. It's not something that is always possible, but that's what we try to do. I think we are getting both kilobytes per second and IOPS. I think that's the idea. That we can go and check. Well, no, it's not working. The beta version, we wanted to have the beta version tomorrow, but I don't think it's going to be tomorrow. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow. We still have some red dots in our Jenkins matrix, so we have to fix. It's a beta, but we don't want a beta with red dots. Read write. Yeah, read write. There are so many issues about the same thing. Well, I don't see it. Where's the code? But probably somewhere. Probably there's a pull request from someone. Anything else?